Hello and welcome to On the Patio with Mr. D. Hey, I got a question from one of my viewers. I want to read it here. And it is from Treasure Pirate. And it says, "Hey Dale, I just bought the drop stitch floor for my AE Sport. I think the jury is still out. It killed my tracking. I kept drifting immediately to the right. I had to paddle 2 strokes on the right side and 1 on the left. Not a very good experience. I know you swear by the drop stitch floor. Have you had any problems with tracking or getting it installed straight in your kayak?" Well, Treasure Pirate, I'm going to answer that question. When I first started working with drop stitch floors, I made a mistake of not aligning it correctly. So today, we are going to do drop stitch 101. I'm going to show you how to align this thing and how to correct it. If it's out of a line, it's really not that big a deal, but it will affect your tracking if that thing is not centered in your boat right. I had it happen on my AE 1044, and I also had it happen on my, my Sport here, and it's because I didn't line it up right. So what we're going to do today in this short clip is we're going to show you how to go ahead and align and set this thing up. So hey, we'll be back in a bit. Step 1 is to make sure your craft is 100% inflated. Then what you want to do is, with your deflated drop stitch floor, number 1, make sure that your filler valve is towards the rear. And then what you want to do is, I kind of fold it into a V and then run it up right to the end of that bag. Now once you have the front of the drop stitch floor centered and butted up against the front of the main chamber, now you can go ahead and install the rear section. Again, I do the same exact thing. I put it into a V. I tuck it. And this is where I check for the same distance between here and here. Now I know the floor is straight in the boat. Okay? Then the next step is to go ahead and inflate. Now I don't. This is 4 to 6. I use 5 pounds. Seems to be a good pressure. So you just go ahead and inflate this. Make sure your cap is secured. Okay, now this is where you do your final adjustments if it's needed. Now in this particular case, it lined up 100% correct. Now one of the tests you can do when you're at home, just to get used to setting this thing up, is flip the boat over. You don't do this on your location, you just do it for this thing here, is to flip the boat over and check the distance between here and here and here and here. If they're right on or extremely close, you can actually eyeball it, and then you can see that the back end of this is in a line with the fin. Same thing with the front. You can see that the front is in a line with the landing plate, so this one is aligned right on. But to recap on the drop stitch floor installation, one of the first things you want to do is make sure that your craft is fully inflated. Then kind of taco bend part of the drop stitch floor and fold it up this way, and then move it forward towards the aft part of the front of the main chamber. You'll see where it kind of curves like this, and you want your front of that drop stitch floor to be centered on that. Then go to the back, repeat the same process, taco it, fit it in, and then lay it down. I do preliminary adjustments at that time to make sure it's centered in the floor of the boat, and then I go ahead and inflate it. And after inflation, I do a visual inspection where I can see that the alignment is correct or not correct. You can correct this real simple by reaching on the inside of where you want to correct it. If it's in the front, you reach the inside of the side that you need to move left or right and just pull it. The same thing with the back, if that's the case. After you've done this a few times, guys, it's not that big a deal. You'll be able to eyeball that thing right in every single time. But if it's your first time and you don't know how to align it, maybe this will help you out. I hope so. I don't have to even think about the drop stitch floor anymore when I'm going out. Now, when I'm using the tandem, which is 16 feet long, that one I have to be a little bit more methodical with to make sure it's aligned, because that's a very, very long floor. Other than that, for the Sport and the AE 1044 and even the Elite, I don't really have a problem now, but I've done this many, many times. So I know what to look for, and you will actually see that the filler valve will be canted left or right. That'll give you an idea that the floor is out of line. But as long as you do it the way that I showed you right at the beginning of this video, you shouldn't have a problem at all. Treasure Pirate, I hope that answers your question. We'll see y'all on the next one.